My heart was pounding. I couldn't catch my breath. Sweat was beading on my forehead. My chest hurt. Here I was, sitting in a church at a Christmas concert with my children, and I swear I was having a heart attack. It is amazing how much a crisis forces you to rethink the most important things. It turns out it wasn't a heart attack at all. I grabbed my children, I drove them all the way back to my house, I dropped them off with their mother, I drove all the way back to the emergency room and said, I swear I'm having a heart attack. They hooked me up to everything they could think of. They took blood from me. And it wasn't a heart attack at all. It was an anxiety attack. I'm 38 years old at that time. And I'm having an anxiety attack? I'd never had a history of that in my life. But something wasn't right. So I had to start thinking about all of these things that were going on in my life. And one of the things that was highly recommended was to see a counselor. And so every other week, I started seeing a counselor. And we started talking about what was going on in my life. I was kind of trepidatious about it at first because, as all of us might have this thought in our head about seeing a psychologist, you're going to be laying on the couch going, this is the way my mother treated me when I was a child. But that's not what it was at all. I started having to rethink about what was going on in my life at that particular time. Because, like with most negative events, the very first thing that comes in your mind is denial. There's no way this can happen to me. And when we started looking at what was going on in my life, he brought up a lot of really good questions for me. Things like, what do you do? I work. No, I mean, what do you do for fun? I work. No, I mean, like, how do you unwind? I work. Every question that he asked was responded to by, I work. I work 40 hours a week for the University of Washington as a research administrator. I have my own company that I put in between 20 and 40 hours in during the week. I volunteer for 4 different nonprofit organizations and my church. It couldn't possibly be that all of these things could contribute to a simple anxiety attack, could it? And as I dug deeper and I reached down deep inside of me, I realized that it wasn't the things that I was doing necessarily, but it was the mindset with which I was doing them. See, the reality is that we all have things that we want to do, that we love to do. But we have to get that paycheck. We have to pay the bills. Well, over the last 5 years, long before this anxiety attack hit, I had been studying biographies of very well-known businessmen and entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, if you will. And what I learned from them started to come to mind as I began looking backwards at why I was experiencing this time of panic. See, we all live inside of our comfort zones. We all live right here in the middle. And then just outside of that is what's called the learning zone. This is the time where we're slightly outside of our comfort zone, but we're learning new things, and we're kind of okay with it. It's a little hard, but we're okay to do it. And just outside of that is the panic zone. And the panic zone is where the whole world crumbles around you. And it turns out that's where I was spending all of my time. I was pushing aside all of my fears. I was pushing aside everything to just reside in the panic zone because I wanted to feel alive. And when you want to feel alive that much, eventually something's going to break. And so I broke. But I did discover the most important thing. That mindset. What was it that drove all of those serial entrepreneurs? What was it that was driving me? What was driving me was my passion. I wanted to help people. I wanted to help them be better at what they were, better at what they did. I wanted them to achieve their goals. I wanted them to achieve their passion. My passion is helping people find their passion. And when I finally put words to that, everything began to fall into place. I stopped volunteering at everything and focused on my passion, the most important thing. I stopped looking everywhere for meaning and found meaning in my passion. I stopped wearing my heart on my sleeve and trying to make sure everybody else felt good about whatever it was they were doing, and focused on my passion. Because if I did what I do best, everyone around me would be better. So now, as I turn around and I look back just a short 1 year ago at where I was and where I am, now when my heart beats and I can't catch my breath and I start to sweat, it's not a panic attack anymore. It's me following the most important thing, my passion. Madam Toastmaster.